Struggling to scale your e-commerce brand? Could this be due to your digital marketing strategy being stuck in the past? The reality is, many brand owners still operate under a 2020 mindset. While that may have worked in the past, it's simply not effective today. The e-commerce space has evolved significantly, and what was once successful no longer yields results. In this video, I'll provide a quick recap of the last 5 years and outline what's truly needed for growth in today's market. But before we do that, who am I and why am I qualified to tell you all this information? My name is Siradia and I'm the founder of IDMA, which is a growth consulting and management firm for e-commerce and direct-to-consumer brands. At IDMA, we simply help e-commerce brand owners scale their e-commerce brands to multiple 7 figures or 8 figures a year by implementing our growth infrastructure into their businesses and managing it on their behalf. In other words, we partner with brand owners and take care of the marketing and sales department within their business to make it inevitable for them not to achieve profitable, predictable, and sustainable growth with their brand. This section is a section that I've added in, right, just before we get into our growth infrastructure, that I've added in because I think context is very important, right? How do we get to this position where traditional marketing agencies and even most brand owners, why do they think that ROAS is the metric that we should be optimizing for? How do we get to this position? Why do we think that ROAS is the way to go, right? Instead of lifetime contribution margin to CAC ratio. Why ROAS? I want to give you some context, right? So this is a brief recap of the biggest changes that took place, and also this also is a good way for you to understand why our growth thesis must be taken serious, right? This section will explain why our growth thesis has to be implemented into your business, that has to be used to guide the marketing approach you take to scale your e-commerce brand. This section will explain why it's important to adopt our growth thesis, right? And use it to scale your e-commerce brand, right? Now, brief recap of the biggest changes that took place in the e-commerce space in the last 4 to 5 years. This highlights the importance of our IDMA growth infrastructure and why it must be implemented into your business if you're looking for sustainable growth, right? Profitable, sustainable growth. I really hope everything we went through so far is making sense, at least logically. Now, if you're anything like me, when I understood all these things I just showed you, I still had 2 more questions in my head. These 2 questions were, how and why are we in this position where traditional marketing agencies still believe that the only thing required to scale an e-commerce brand is Facebook ads, TikTok ads, or Google ads? And why are they optimizing for ROAS instead of a healthy lifetime contribution margin to CAC ratio, knowing that you can't sustainably scale a brand by just optimizing for ROAS or first-time purchases? To really answer these 2 questions properly, I need to take you back in time. Now, 2020. In 2020, a very unfortunate event caused the world to shut down and forced everyone inside their homes. This period of time was funny because I remember barbershops being closed and not being able to get a haircut, which meant that I could finally grow my hair. I have very strict Nigerian parents. Now, anyways, the only direction eyeballs' attentions could go was towards some kind of screen. This led to a massive shift in the consumer behavior. We saw cheap advertising costs and huge amounts of disposable income that went straight to online shopping because everybody was at home. They couldn't step outside, go to physical stores. They had to buy online, right? Cost to acquire a customer was relatively low, right? So compared to what it is today, right? Anyways, let's continue. This is also known as the e-commerce boom, right? Now, this period of time in 2020 is what led to the belief traditional marketing agencies currently have. When everything was easy and you could basically get sales for basically doing absolutely nothing, you didn't even have to be good at advertising. People were just buying because they couldn't buy in a physical store. Everybody's on their phone. The cost to acquire a customer was basically zero, or cost to acquire a customer was basically zero, right? So it was very easy. It was a perfect condition, right? For some e-commerce brands. And by the way, that's how some e-commerce brands got their break. It was a perfect condition for scale. Everything was easy, right? Everything was relatively easy, right? So now, during this period of time, you could go to market with any type of product, spend some dollars, and expect to see a great ROAS. Relatively easy, right? Now, let me continue. In 2021, a year after, because everything that's good eventually comes to an end, right? So this is it's a cycle. It's a cycle. Life is a cycle, right? In 2021, iOS 14, Apple's new operating system at the time, was introduced, which caused attribution issues, reduced visibility in the customer journey, right? That's what attribution. If you don't know what attribution issues are, it's reduced visibility in the customer journey, right? So you can accurately track each customer or each user like you did before. Before it was very easy to track users, essentially and retarget them. Now it was hard because of this privacy, update, right? So which, listen, it's good and bad. Good for the user as a user, bad as an advertiser because it's harder to essentially create personalized messages, right? Saying because we have less visibility, but it's still doable. It's not the end of the world, right? It's a solution for everything. This forced brands to adapt their data analytics practices and readjust their marketing spend and diversify from Facebook ads. This period of time, 2021, is when traditional marketing agencies should have changed their flow of thinking, but they didn't. It was easier to keep launching ad campaign after ad campaign and get mediocre results for brand owners. That's 2021. 2022. In 2022, the TikTok gold rush kicked off. You need to be on TikTok. TikTok UGC creators are killing it right now. I'm sure you've heard something similar to this. The newly introduced platform gave pre-2020 advertising metrics and a new way to showcase products, UGC. But just like any gold rush, it came to an end, which leads us to 2023. In 2023, we saw the consequences of pre-2022 thinking come into play. Most brand owners struggled unless brand owners were able to add an extra 100K in monthly sales volume. And advertising platforms weren't the free ATM machines they once were. In other words, you actually had to know and understand the marketing fundamentals to succeed, as well as have the right foundation within your business to scale sustainably. This brings us to 2024. So now, 2023, it wasn't as easy anymore. The whole, oh yeah, we'll go on TikTok and launch an ad and you can get crazy ROAS and this and that, this is the new thing. It wasn't as easy anymore, right? Now, in 2024, with the rising ad costs due to iOS 14, online buyers are becoming more sophisticated, and an economy on the brink of collapse, which obviously I'm exaggerating a bit, obviously, you can understand why it's harder to add an extra 100K or more per month using the old methods. The whole, let's go for ROAS, let's chase ROAS, let's go and scale ads, and just ads, right? It's a lot hard to scale that way now, right? To achieve success today and to scale past $1 million plus a year, we need to readjust our thinking and the paradigms under which we operate. Now, the more accurate your perception of reality is, the more W's you'll get and the more M's you'll be able to collect. The people ahead of you just had a clearer picture of how the world actually works and took action accordingly. This couldn't apply more to this situation. That's why I had to include it right in this training. In addition to that, I want to emphasize this point. To ensure the long-term growth and success of your brand, you must consistently execute an omni-channel strategy. It's no longer enough to just do paid ads and just hope for the best and try and scale through ads and chase ROAS and increase ad spend and get diminishing returns and continue to scale ad spend. Like, it's not just, that's not enough anymore. You can't scale that way. It's not viable, right? It's not sustainable, right? It's viable, but it's not sustainable, right? Now, our IDMA growth infrastructure supports this comprehensive approach, helping you leverage multiple channels to generate revenue effectively and efficiently. Relying on a singular acquisition channel, e.g. Facebook, TikTok, or Google, is not a sustainable strategy for 2024 and beyond. You need to add a second channel that retains the customers you acquire and extracts more value, money out of them, right? That second channel that retains customers you acquire and extracts more value out of them is essential. You need that to scale. You absolutely need that to scale. Many traditional marketing agencies haven't adapted to the current market conditions and continue to rely on outdated beliefs from years ago. This is what gives you the biggest opportunity to get ahead as a brand owner today. Most brand owners and marketers haven't adapted to the new e-commerce environment, right? So that's everything from this section, right? And hopefully that's giving you a bit of context as to why traditional marketing agencies and e-commerce brands are still thinking, most e-commerce brands are still thinking in this whole, let's go for ROAS, let's get bigger ROAS, let's get high ROAS, let's increase ad spend, let's see if we can scale that way, instead of focusing on the lifetime contribution margin to CAC ratio, which is the golden metric. That's the star metric. That's what we're optimizing for, profit. We're not here just to run ads. We don't care about ads. In fact, so much so that our tagline is, we architect profit, not just ads. That's our tagline at IDMA, because ads is just a means, and it's just a small part of the bigger, the strategy essentially, right? It's just a small part of it, it's a small element of it. We use it, of course, because it's a way to predictably get sales, but we don't just rely on it, which is what most brand owners do, and which is what traditional marketing agencies want you to do. You don't need to do that. You need to leverage paid ads and have a retention system to get repeated purchases, forcing your blended CAC down, reducing your CAC, making you more profitable, right? It's that simple. And this brings us to the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you're looking for free specific help with your digital marketing efforts, feel free to book a free consultation call with us. To do that, all you need to do is click the first link in the description of this video, choose a date, and fill in a short questionnaire about your business. An IDMA growth consultant will get on a call with you to give you advice and actionable steps to solve any specific digital marketing problem you're currently facing with your e-commerce brand. Now, full disclosure, at the end of the consultation call, if our growth consultants determine that your brand meets our required standards, then we might consider a partnership with you. At IDMA, we do not consider a partnership with every brand owner. In fact, we only partner with brand owners that are in a position to rapidly scale their brands with the help of our growth team. With that being said, book a consultation with us to get free specific help with your digital marketing efforts. Thank you for watching this video. Take care.